Arash Mataro said Cecil needs his bifocals. What's taking you so long?
I
Fugman says
found
John
the
is the
book.
Grinch.
Okay, I think I found it.
All right.
So it's just somebody that has all the dialogue up on the screen from the book. And so yeah, it
Okay.
is the narrator. Come on, computer.
No.
And
They
Cecil, you
really
do
do
anything special for the narrator?
choke
Or
Well,
are
out.
you gonna?
To do not choke out, Oxmal.
Oh, okay.
okay, so it's
Yeah.
muted. This is the book.
No, every Hoover down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not.
Hmm.
The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. Okay, I think it happened. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, and he stood there on Christmas, hating the Who's. Okay. Oh, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in that town, where he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging mistletoe wreath. Oh,
It's going pretty good.
um,
And they're hanging their stockings.
he snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming.
I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming.
Oh. For tomorrow, he knew all the Who girls and boys would wake up bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise. Oh, the noise, 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 noise. Oh, that's the one thing he hated. The noise, 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 noise. Then the Who's, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. They'd sing and they'd sing and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of the Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought,
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years, I put up with this now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how?
and then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. Oh,
I know just what to do.
the Grinch laughed in his throat. And he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked.
What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like St. Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around. But since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said.
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead.
So he called his dog Max, and then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn to the top of his head. And then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said,
Giddy up.
and the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. And then he came to the first little house on the square.
This is stop number 1.
The old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed on the roof, empty bag in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once. Oh, for a moment or two, and then he stuck out his head and the fireplace flew where the little Who stockings are all hung in a row.
These stockings
He grinned.
are the first things to go.
Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant. Around the whole room he took every present, pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney, and he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash, while the Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. He stuffed all the food in the chimney with glee.
And now
Grinned the Grinch.
I will stuff up the tree.
And then the Grinch grabbed a tree and he started to shove. And when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove, he turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was no more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who got out of bed for a cold cup of water. She stared at the Grinch and said,
Sandy Claus, why? Where are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?
But you know that old Grinch, he was so smart and so slick. He thought up a line. He thought it up quick.
Why, my sweet little tot?
The fake Santa Claus lied.
There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there. Then I'll bring it back here.
And his fib fooled the child, and he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went up to the chimney, and he stuffed the tree up. And the last thing he took was a log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney, himself the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing at the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 15:15 dawn, all the Who still abed, all the Who still a snooze, while he packed up the sled, packed up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, and the tinsel, the trimmings and trappings. 3,000 feet up to the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip top to dump it.
Pooh-pooh to the Who's.
He was Grinchiously humming.
They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise
Grinned the Grinch.
that I simply must hear.
So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, and it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very. And he stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eye, and he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or another, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. And the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas
He thought,
doesn't come from a store. maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. Oh,
Ah, I don't. My heart growing.
and the minute his heart didn't quite feel so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
Fucking
All right.
brilliant.
Oh my God. Congratulations. Cheers, everyone.